Sherry Rondeau's enthusiasm, upbeat personality, and sincere smile are contagious. She wears her heart on her sleeve. In Muskoka, her writings include newspaper columns, a loving memoir of the Alzheimer journey with her husband, blogger, speaker, emcee, and participant at Tall Pines Tales. As a novelist, Sherry is immersed in penning a series of romance adventure books styled as tourist prompts for women flying solo. Every attempt is made to celebrate and capture the personality, details, and scenery of particular Ontario locales. A recent endeavor, Keeping the Knots Tight, is an insightful and thought-provoking essay about the ties that bind people together and the mismatch of colorful threads intertwining weft and warp into human tapestries. Her debut reading received applause from an appreciative live audience. Sherry witnessed the nodding of heads in agreement when the listeners identified the invisible threads and importance of keeping the knots tight. Now you will hear Sherry read her engrossing essay entitled Tapestries.
Hello everyone, and thank you David for the introduction. Last year, while on a jaunt to Haliburton Village, I admired the surprising array of textiles in a Main Street store. From wool to embroidery thread, in brilliant hues or soft shades, carpeting, pre-printed bolts of cotton, quilters' batting, sturdy slipcovers, sheets, blankets, and table linens. The impressive variety fired my imagination. In life and living, creativity is comprised of individual fibers and ideas. All manner of combinations, regardless of circumstances, can be woven together. I remember as a young girl that I had a wooden spool we called Dolly Up the Reel. It was a handheld tool with several short nails or pegs hammered around the top edge. Wool was wrapped around the pegs and then looped over and drawn down through the center hole to make a rope of many colors. When I think about the strands that writers incorporate into patterns, the ties that bind vary in texture. Some appear thick with rough edges, like courage, or fine and subject to breakage when under duress, perhaps a tender heart. Shiny and smooth, as in our defense mechanisms, or synthetic and difficult to work with. Hopefully, our character is fibrous, as in silk. We can lose a few strands, but retain our strength. Resilience can be brittle and fragile, as in hand-blown glass, or as steely and durable as horseshoes. Some assembly required. These three words put us on notice, and for a number of people, they're a premonition of difficulties. Akin to those overweight cardboard boxes of kit furniture containing assorted parts, a writer's work also includes the some assembly required stipulation. Advanced planning is crucial. Putting the pieces together requires more than good intentions. The process doesn't always go smoothly. If there are too many screws left over, the whole structure is perilous. Attention to detail is the key, ensuring that our construction is solid and we don't wobble. Here's a quote you might recognize. Neither snow nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from their appointed rounds. This is the creed of the Postal Workers of America. Their scheduled deliveries are both on time and complete, like committed writers. Fulfilling the task at hand is what we do. A post on Facebook made me laugh aloud. Being called weird is like being called a limited edition. It means you're something people don't see that often. Remember that. Writers are a mishmash of colors, intertwining the weft into the warp of our own creations. Beginning in our youth, education, and experience bind together a vast combination of pigments, textures, emotions, and observations that we weave into the tapestries of our own life. Some are brash, some are more muted, and others reflect the predictability of repeat patterns. We begin with the story idea, then incorporate the colors, textures, and imagination to finish a piece worthy of display. Sometimes our sleep is fraught with unfinished business. We wake in the night to pluck at a strand or snip a stray filament. Come morning, we hold our work up to the light, scrutinizing for flaws. Unless we're using a template, there is no preset design to follow. Sometimes we undo and redo, tweak, revise, and loosely tie our work off until we can revisit. Adding more detail sometimes enhances the pattern. When we listen to a writer's words, can we discern the fabric of that person? Do the readings evoke tears, laughter, reflection, or exuberation? Sometimes more than one emotion is included in the weave. When our edges fray, we get singed by flames if we're too close to the fire, and we can unravel if the knots that hold us together become too loose. As sure as we dearly beloved are gathered here for this 2020 virtual event, the Tall Pines Tales get-togethers are always special. For the past 6 years, newcomers and founding members of Muskoka and Haliburton writers groups have offered their work with trusting hearts. We believe that continuously honing our skills, broadening our imagination, listening with open minds, and honoring feedback are the factors that keep our work tight. We entwine ourselves with each other through words, sharing, and gratitude. I am grateful to be included in this mosaic of conveners, arrangers, and fellow participants who comprise this 2020 Tall Pine Tale events. Here are exceptional words from Henry Ward Beecher, an American clergyman. We sleep, but the loom of life never stops, and the pattern which was weaving when the sun went down is weaving when it comes up in the morning. Albert Einstein once said that the individual is only an insignificant thread in an immense and miraculous pattern. Whether our circle widens or shrinks, there's a certainty that everyone is enriched by the weft and warp that creates this current COVID pandemic tapestry. The ties that bind people together are a multitude of invisible strands. Keep the knots tight, everyone, until we reunite. Thank you, keep safe, and stay well.